Hello, I'm Nigel Fraser. I'm the author of CIRIA's Guide on Selecting and Working with a Consultant. I've had some experience on both sides of the fence in terms of lean consultancy as a client and as a supplier of consulting services. I've also chaired CIRIA's Construction Productivity Network and been involved with Build Off Site since it was formed almost 10 years ago. I'm a keen advocate of lean construction. Using a consultant is often something that we come to with a degree of reluctance. We'd rather be able to do it ourselves, but quite often we get into areas where our own knowledge and experience is not really adequate. However, before we get into employing somebody, we really do need to understand what it is that we're trying to achieve and where we are today, what the journey is going to involve. And this guide is designed to help you with that and to get some real lasting value from working with a consultant. It's also aimed at helping you become self-sufficient as an organisation so that after a period of working with a consultant, you have learned enough collectively to continue the journey without the need of external help. This guide is structured in such a way that you can actually dip into different parts of it. You don't have to start at the beginning and read it right the way through to the end for it to be useful to you. There's a small flowchart at the beginning which helps you identify how you can do that. However, it's a fairly concise guide. There's 18 pages and each section of it does help to let you think about what you need to do and ask for in order to have a very effective and productive relationship with the consultant. When working out what it is that you want and developing a group, it's important whether you're looking at it from an enterprise-wide perspective or whether you're looking at it from a particular project that you want to build in a very leading way. It's important to start off by assessing your own position, looking at what aspects of lean you're currently familiar with, what you need to develop, what your future objectives are, and how to get that good level of client self-awareness. And then setting aspirations in the context of that so that they are realistic and demanding but achievable. In doing that, identifying the objectives and the business benefits that you want to be delivered from the overall process of becoming a lean enterprise and delivering lean projects is essential. A lot of people might immediately think about paying by results, and there is some scope for that. But the guide explains that that's most effectively done in a macro context rather than at a detailed level, because often detailed improvements might not necessarily bring benefits through to the bottom line. So that is explored in some detail, as is establishing budgets and timing for such improvement processes based on these principles. It also gives advice on some of the general terms and conditions and prerequisites that might be perceived as being required by the client. A lot of professional services contracts address the need for insurance of various types and certain warranties, etc., which may not be as relevant in this context as they are, for example, if somebody is designing a facility that they're doing for you. So look at what you're asking for and do not incur additional costs that you don't really need in that brief. The guide takes you through an overall process from that initial self-awareness exercise and looking at what is available in the market, through the procurement process and supplier selection, right through to becoming an enterprise and becoming self-sustainable. In terms of market research, some of that is beneficial whilst developing the brief because it's well worth knowing what is out there, what you can be calling upon, what help you can get. However, it's not always easy to find because in large consulting practices, the lean construction specialists are probably a relatively small team. They may not appear and feature on the website, but maybe addresses larger engineering capabilities or architectural services, project management services. Similarly, a lot of the companies are relatively small and they may not have a web presence, or if they do, it might be difficult to find it. So don't just rely on market research based on web searches. Look for examples of projects with clients that have used consultants successfully and get referrals. Look at the Construction Institute and who has been involved in that, companies that are leading in this area. There are many lean consultancy businesses out there that operate in many industrial sectors. In this context, we want to find those that understand how to apply it to construction, which is similar in some respects to manufacturing, but has significant differences. And those differences have been well researched and understood over the last couple of decades. The procurement process itself and the rules under which different businesses operate with respect to that vary. Public sector and the like are often organised to meet the requirements of the EU procurement processes in the UK. But not all companies are constrained by that. So this section looks at those sorts of issues and it, amongst other things, gives a very practical tendering template that's been developed by a client of the services over some years. Therefore, helps you go through the process of identifying what it is that you need to consider when selecting suppliers. Once the supplier has been selected, it's important to build the relationship and maintain it. It's important to introduce the consultant to the wider organisation and for them to understand how your business currently works and what you're aspiring to do, but it's also important that the other departments within the business understand what is happening and how it relates to them. So there's a general induction, but there's also then the process of maintaining the relationship and driving continuous improvement, not just within your own business, but also from the suppliers the advice themselves. Ultimately, the objective of most enterprises is to become self-sustaining in terms of their competencies with respect to the it's unusual for a company to want a long-term relationship with a consultant, and the guide highlights how knowledge can be transferred, how learning can be captured, and how the organisation can evolve within itself. Along the way, the guide contains a couple of case studies. These have been made available by Skanska and the Ministry of Justice. The Skanska case studies related to motorway projects and highlight a couple of different contexts and different approaches. The Ministry of Justice looks at the delivery of prisons and how that has informed their processes over a period of time. Having read the guide, you'll no doubt bring some conclusions. One of them is that applying lean principles to construction organisations is challenging. However, significant competitive advantage can be gained and has been by numerous organisations. Getting the brief right when applying this to appointing a lean consultant is fundamental, and aiming for self-sufficiency is realistic and desirable, and most consultants will understand the need for that and work with you to achieve it. This CIRIA guide will help you work with a consultant to implement lean in an enjoyable and effective manner. Please download the guide and look at it at your convenience. Thank you.